So for those who don't know, Mike from Love Island did a sit-down interview talking about his experience working in the police force, his experience being on Love Island, and his current status with Priscilla. Went up to him, didn't even apologize. He didn't mean it in that way, and it was just an intense moment. Whether it was an intense moment, a fake scenario, or a real scenario, you should have not called him a gorilla. Like, period. That sergeant definitely knew that that wasn't Mike, but because he was new, he was naive, he didn't know what was going on. They showed him a picture of a footballer that looked nothing like Mike. They were doing everything and anything to antagonize him, bully him, embarrass him, make a mockery out of him. You're either going to be labeled as the angry black person, the aggressor, the bully, the troublemaker. Hey y'all, what's good? It's your girl Fats, and I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are having a blessed day. I hope you guys are having a blessed weekend. Today's video is going to be a review on an interview that Mike from Love Island did. He uploaded this interview on his YouTube channel, so if you guys haven't checked it out, please go ahead and check it out. So for those who don't know, Mike from Love Island did a sit-down interview talking about his experience working in the police force, his experience being on Love Island, and his current status with Priscilla. Like, I was just appalled and disgusted. Like, I literally could not believe some of the things that he was saying, because you wouldn't think that being in the police force, things like this would happen. Police officers are meant to protect us and help us at all times, but if anything, man, we should be wary of them. One of the things that Mike spoke about in this interview is one of the racist incidents that he experienced when working in the police force. When he was working at the police force, he was on training. In this training, there was about 24 officers, his colleagues, and during that training, they had to take part in a fake scenario. Mike was the support officer, his colleague was the lead officer, and there was another colleague that was the alleged offender. During that fake scenario, his colleague, which was the lead officer, he was taking part in his role, but then Mike was noticing that his colleague, which was the lead officer, he was struggling a little bit in his role, so Mike decided to take over and help him. And basically Mike ended up being the lead officer, and whilst he was doing his role, the alleged offender and Mike were going back and forth, and things got a bit too intense with the alleged offender from his side. Like, he kind of took it too far, and he basically ends up calling Mike a gorilla. And obviously Mike was a bit taken aback, like, bruh. Obviously he was a bit shocked. He didn't expect that. Everybody in the room was silent. Like, there was a long, awkward silence in the room. And Mike looked to his trainers for clarification. Like, did you basically just hear what he just called me? And these people did not say nothing. Not even a word in that moment. The trainers didn't say nothing in that moment. They just carried on with the exercise. Mike went back to sit down, and they just brushed it under the carpet. And I was like, those trainers should have taken that guy outside to have a word with him. Their duty is to make sure that things like this are taken seriously. So after the training, the colleagues that were in the training went up to Mike just to see if he was okay and asked him if he wanted to talk about it. But obviously in that moment, Mike didn't want to talk about the situation. He just brushed it under the carpet, and Mike left the training, and the guy that called him the gorilla went up to him, didn't even apologize, and basically said he didn't mean it in that way, and it was just an intense moment. Whether it was an intense moment, a fake scenario, or a real scenario, you should have not called him a gorilla. Like, period. At the end of the day, if he didn't have an apology for Mike, he should have not gone up to Mike. So obviously in that moment, Mike is fuming, he's angry. He went back to the room to speak to the trainers and basically say to them, like, why was no actions been taken place when that situation happened? And these trainers didn't even say anything. They should have taken that guy out of the room and checked him, and basically they should have fired him. They should have fired him there and then. Obviously Mike was still angry, as he should. He then went and complained to the higher up people and let them know what had happened, and they were really angry and fuming. And when he made a complaint, they basically did an investigation about the incident, and the guy that called Mike a gorilla, basically what they did to the guy is they didn't fire him, they changed his role and moved him to another station. I'm sorry, am I missing something here? Am I missing something? We both know if that situation was the other way around, Mike would have been fired there and then. Let's just be real. Basically what they said to Mike is, we've moved him to another station, you don't have to see him again, and basically get on with it. If that was me, I would have left that job a long time ago. Like, let me just tell you something, there's so much that you can take. There's a point where enough is enough. Like, you're not just gonna sit there and just call me names and then expect me to just work. I have to take a deep breath because I was just appalled. I was just disgusted, bro. Mike then talks about another incident that he experienced when working in the police force. And it was a similar situation as well, where he was on training, and literally this was his second day working at the police force, his second day on training. This particular training is where they had to introduce themselves and talk about their background, where they're from, and it was Mike's turn to talk about where he's from, his background, etc. And basically Mike mentioned that he's a footballer. The next day, his sergeant calls him to the office and basically comes out with, we heard that you mentioned yesterday that you are a footballer, and we did a research on that, and basically they did a research on him and they showed him a picture of a footballer that looked nothing like Mike. And basically this particular footballer, his name was Michael Boateng, and he was arrested for doing something, I don't know what, but he was arrested. And they basically said that basically the sergeant comes out with, this picture basically looks like you. Mike wasn't even taking it seriously. Like, he was just literally like, this doesn't look nothing like me, like what are you talking about? And as the conversation was going on, the sergeant's face was getting a bit more serious, and his tone, basically he was saying that he thinks that this is him, like this is definitely Mike. And when you look at the picture and you look at Mike, that picture looks nothing like Mike. It looks nothing like him. Like, yeah, this picture looks exactly like you, and this is a serious situation, and basically trying to get him into trouble. And Mike was literally saying to him, like, look at the picture closely, this looks nothing like me. For those who don't know, right, when you're working with kids or when you're working with patients in hospitals, like when you're a nurse or a doctor, or when you work with children, teaching assistants, you have to have a DBS. Okay, so before you even start the job, they check your DBS, they check your update service just to see if you have any criminal records. And it's the same thing when you're working at the police force. They have to check whether or not you have any criminal records. And obviously Mike was like, you guys know full well that this isn't me, okay? Because you guys gave me this job, you know full well that wasn't me, you guys did a whole background check on me, you inverted me, and you gave me the job, so you know good damn well that isn't me. And on top of that, they made him stand next to the picture and basically see if it was really him. That sergeant definitely knew that that wasn't Mike, But because he was new, he was naive, he didn't know what was going on. They were doing everything and anything to antagonize him, bully him, embarrass him, make a mockery out of him. But then after that conversation, the sergeant basically said to Mike that he needs to bring his passport the next day so they can verify that it's really not him. And he went and brought his passport and they verified it wasn't him. Mike went and complained again to the higher up people. They were fuming, they were angry as well, and I'm just like, you're fuming and you're angry, but you're not firing these people. They did an investigation, and then it turns out that those colleagues were just moved to another station. Again, you're basically telling him that we've moved them to another station, you don't have to see them again, just get on with your work. It doesn't matter. If those people can do that to Mike, those people can do it to other people at the other station. But they don't care. These people do not care. One thing I've realized when it comes to these situations, because it just doesn't happen at the police force. These types of situations happens everywhere and it's serious. But one thing I've realized that when you're taking it to the higher people, the senior, the management, one thing that they like to do is obviously they have to take it further so it doesn't come back to them. Managers and seniors, they always have each other's back. Regardless whether they have problems or issues, they always have each other's back. They always cover each other's back. They could have at least gotten a warning, a disciplinary, but no, none of that. It was just like, oh, we're gonna move you to another station and you have to just get on with it and do your job. And every time when he walked into the room, there was just a grey cloud. Everybody started treating him differently. Like, people were really hesitant to be around him because it was literally like, it just felt like people were starting to basically label him as a troublemaker. He felt uncomfortable because it was like things like this shouldn't be happening from the first place. This is why black people find it so hard to defend themselves when it comes to working in a 9-to-5 setting, because you're either going to be labelled as the angry black person, the aggressor, the bully, the troublemaker. Like, it's funny because these people give us these equal opportunities form for us to sign, saying that we should all treat everybody equally and we shouldn't discriminate anyone based on their race, colour, age, sex or their size. But yet you guys do the complete opposite. You guys do the complete opposite, and you guys do things that you shouldn't be doing in a workplace. At this point, Mike was literally over it. He was done. I would be done too, honey. And he had enough. He literally had enough. He resigned. And he also made it very, very clear. Mike also made it very clear. It's not the fact that I didn't like what I was doing. He liked his role. It's the fact that he didn't like the environment that he was working in and the colleagues. Like, the colleagues were literally disrespecting him left, right and center. And he just couldn't take it anymore. I'm sorry, but once you start disturbing my peace and my sanity, like, it's done, it's over. And you know what, I'm kind of glad that he did this interview, because he had to clear his name. He had to clear his name to move forward. But then, to change up the mood, he also spoke about his Love Island experience, how he got on Love Island and, you know, being in South Africa and getting along with everyone. He also spoke about certain situations and certain people that were at the villa that were all nicey to his face, but then behind his back they were, you know, talking some crap about him, aka Shauna. Shauna was a shady one, man. Honestly. And you know what, he handled that situation so well, because he could have literally dragged Shauna through the mud, but he was like, you know what, it happens, it is what it is, we keep it moving around here. He then speaks about Priscilla and their current status, and basically he was just saying that, you know, they're getting along very well. As days go by, they're just developing feelings for one another. And he basically said that he's locked down for this one. Like, it was a really, really good interview and I really, really liked it. But if you guys haven't checked it out, I'm gonna put the link down below. And yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please make sure you like, share and subscribe, and I shall see y'all on my next video. Bye.